What's going on there, everyone? Big news for the Covington Catholic school kids. Attorney for Covington Catholic teens reacts to judge reopening lawsuit against WaPo, Washington Post. Oh, I didn't see this coming. I mean, this was kind of random. I thought this was all over because the judge at first was like, nah, blah, blah, blah. Nicholas Sandmann will not be able to repair his reputation without proceeding with his lawsuit against the Washington Post and other media outlets. Attorney Todd McMurtry said on Tuesday. On Monday, a federal judge reversed his own ruling by partially reopening the Covington Catholic High School students' $250 million defamation lawsuit against the media's coverage of his confrontation with a... I don't like that word either. I don't like that they put confrontation, because those kids didn't confront anybody. The kids were standing there waiting for a bus and just cheering and chanting. They were doing their own thing. When they were approached, yeah, exactly, by Mr. Phillips, with a Native American protester in Washington, D.C. earlier this year. The new ruling by District Judge William O. Bertelsmann is based on an amended complaint filed by Sandmann's legal team. The decision permitted Sandmann to obtain documents from the Post during an upcoming discovery process, and his lawyers have sought to argue that the paper negligently reported on Sandmann's interactions with the Native American man Nathan Phillips, while the students wore a red Make America Great Again hat and stood outside the Lincoln Memorial in January. This is huge. This is really big, and it's a really positive step for Sandmann and a really bad step for the media. Just opening up the discovery process. Oh, I bet you these companies are sweating bullets right now, because now they're going to be able to get access to emails that were being sent. They're going to be able to have access to all the reports, because one of the biggest things why this was thrown out in the first place, why the judge threw it out, was because the judge said these were opinions. These were the media opinions. Well, not necessarily. And that's why they went back, Nicholas Sandmann's team went back and decided, okay, so he said they were opinion pieces. Well, let's go back. Let's go through all the archived reports on what happened that day, and let's see whether they were reporting fact or opinion. And unfortunately, for the media's teams, there were a lot of reports that were based on this being factual. Yes, a lot of other media outlets did the smart thing and put in all their anti-Covington kids sputum, their speech, they put it under the opinion pieces, which for them was very smart to do. That covered their butts. But places like the Washington Post and stuff did not put it under their opinion. They put it under the news, the factual news. That's where they screwed up. And that's where this is going to end up biting them big time. Which is a good thing, because I firmly think that all these news agencies need to be condemned when they put out fake news. And the whole case of the Covington Catholic school kids, that was all fake news. Everything they were saying was a lie. Phillips, what is his name? Nathan Phillips? Yeah, Nathan Phillips himself lied completely about the situation. There's video evidence proving he was lying, and that Washington Post was lying, that CNN lied, that MSNBC lied. They all lied. But we're getting somewhere now with this whole discovery. Appearing on Fox and Friends with host Ainsley Earnhardt, McMurtry said that when the case was initially dismissed by Bertelsmann, that they had not provided all the evidence that showed Phillips had done on the mall that day. I don't like the way they said that. Showed that, McMurtry said they believed the video evidence shows that Nathan Phillips presented a false factual narrative when he described what happened, and the judge was persuaded by the additional video evidence. The judge ruled that an amended complaint submitted by Sandman's attorney alleged in greater detail that the original complaint that Phillips deliberately lied concerning the events at issue, and that Phillips had an unsavory reputation, which, but for the defendant's negligence or malice, would have alerted defendant to this fact. Yeah, he was an activist. He was a left-wing activist. He lied about being in the military and all kinds of nonsense. All kinds of... He lied about so much that for them to even use him in a report was ridiculous. It was just bad on their part. McMurtry tweeted that the ruling bodies well for NBC and CNN cases as well. So this is not over. By a long shot, it seems. The initial kind of unedited, unsourced viral video that the Post linked to its articles just showed a snippet of what happened, said McMurtry. He told Earnhardt he believes that the new evidence shows that Phillips confronted Sandman, and in a statement to the Washington Times, McMurtry said the ruling preserves the heart of Nicholas Sandman's claims. What we are going to do is we are going to represent our case very aggressively against all defendants whom have sued, or whom we've has sued, excuse me. And the idea is to help Nicholas repair his reputation, McMurtry said. So when you talk about this case being worth millions of dollars, think about how much money was spent, or the equivalent value of spending that much money to defame Nicholas Sandman, he explained. When you have the full weight of the Washington Post and other news sources all out against you, or all out against a young man like that, what's the value of doing all that all? He asked Earnhardt. McMurtry said that the 17-year-old Sandman is doing well, but he is not able, without the benefits of these lawsuits, to undo the damage to his reputation. Bertelsmann has called for a hearing for December 3rd to go over scheduling for Sandman's case. This is huge. This is really big. Where I think a lot of these companies were like, haha, we win again. We got to publish fake news, and no one's going to do anything about it. Well, not so fast. This judge, after Sandman's attorneys have went back, and what they did, because they were trying to sue on all these different allegations. You know, they're sitting here saying they did this, they did that, the media did this, did that. Well, the judge won't like all of that. So what the attorneys for Sandman did is they went back, they cut out a lot of things, and they whittled it down to 3 instances in which they could probably move forward. And as you can see by this, the judge reopening the case and filing for discovery, they did just that. They're back in the game. They're back in the game to a point where even a judge is agreeing with them a little bit thus far. But this is going to be interesting. We will continue to follow this. I'd love to hear your comments. And as always, like, share, subscribe. I will catch you all on the flip side.